Saturdays now. Okay,
Yeah,
everybody?
Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings. Well, again, we will go on weekly and we talk about anything that has to do with self-love, anything that has to do with the healing journey. And so we always catch up before we do this. Well, I think that one's just lagging, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just keep talking. Yes, and so the topic today is going to your wounds to find your values. Yeah, what was it? You were sharing your personal experience with realizing what your values were, and then we literally thought the same thing. You said it though, but you're like, ooh, maybe there's something about how we've been hurt, like our wounds, that reveals what our true values are, like what you really value in your life and how you're going to stick with valuing that in your life and not change it or go against it just because someone else does not value it, which I believe happens a lot. So we're going to see if this is going to be a next workshop too, because this is so juicy. Like when you think of the question, what is your values? Like, does it immediately come up? Or you're like, whoa, okay, hold on. You can see that there's a process with it. You need some reflection time to really think it through. So what's coming up for you, Howley, with this topic of go to your wounds to find your values?
So good. I love that this came up for us today.
Yeah.
I think that one of my greatest wounds and greatest values, they are so linked. That's what's so rad about this conversation and about this topic is that my one of my biggest wounds in my life has been feeling like dropped on communication.
Right? Like ghosted, or just like, hey, we're connecting, and then where'd you go?
Gone.
Yeah.
And I've relived this wound so many times, and now I'm at the place where it just used to really make me feel so small and shrink down, and then kind of like want to retaliate with the same behavior type of a thing. Like, okay, you drop me, so I'm dropping you next time, kind of a thing. But now that I understand that communication is one of my greatest values in life, it's one of the things that's the most important to me. So it's like, even if I'm in communication with someone that's gonna like drop me, right? It's still my value to communicate. And so I'm going to opt in for the thing that I value. I'm not going to keep communicating with someone that continues to drop me, but I'm not going to like do the tit for tat type of a thing, because that's living outside of my integrity. That's living outside of my values and therefore my value, Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people in that experience, they like take that in and they change their values, or their values go away. You're like, okay, fuck it. And there's no point in connecting, or there's no point in like staying in that, like continuing to want to connect in that way, because people are just going to leave anyways. So then we go into this place where we're just completely functioning out of something that we value so much because we believe it doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Because we get wounded. So then we're like, I can't own that value, because when I'm in that value, I get hurt. Right. But it really takes like being like, you know what? Like my values are more important to me, and living in my values is more important to me than the way that other people are interacting with that.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather be the person that I want, that like I'm here to be.
Exactly. You would rather be this person you're like
that is natural for you to be. Like it's not even, it's not communication and being responsive and being respectful in, returning messages and these types of things. That isn't something that I have to work on to get good at. That's a very natural way of being for me. It is for you too. And so it's kind of like, do the thing that's the most natural for you. You've probably been wounded there, but when you can own it, regardless of the hurt that you've experienced, then you attract people that have that same value.
Totally. And that's the benefits of upholding and staying connected with your values, right? And and like if you're being hurt by somebody who does not reciprocate the same type of values, that like instead of feeling, oh, fuck it. No, it's like, okay, that's information for me to know that this person is unlikely going to be like meshing well in my flow.
Yeah.
You know, that's speaking from a very empowered place instead of like, you know, like being, how do I say it? Letting that overcome who you are, like your values.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also a way that you can like maintain the innocence of another person too, of just like, we don't share the same values.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that they're bad or wrong or that I'm better or more right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we have a misalignment of what we value in our lives right now or maybe forever.
Yes. And I feel so many of us miss that. And we will just continue to people please because we want to be liked so much that we'll continue to entertain and say yes to this certain type of connection where, you know, it's already like misaligned, right? And there's so much that we miss. There's so much that we miss. So that's why the healing, the self-love journey is so important, because in our experience, it's helped us expand our awareness and even be more hyper aware and actually have something called self-worth, and your values get even stronger and you realize how much you appreciate and value your values. Like you realize how much you value that.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're willing to do anything to protect it from being damaged.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing that's coming up for me is like, what I value a lot is being in safe places. Like I value that so much. Like if I ever experience that with somebody, it just like warms my heart and it just gives me this big giant green light that, okay, this is potentially a really good and safety connection, because I've been hurt so much by not being able to be myself, by constantly being criticized, or not being able to express myself in a way where it gets received with excitement, enthusiasm, or compassion and understanding. But instead, it's like, what? Like, da, 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 da. And this goes with my family. This goes with my past partners and other friends or other kind of connections where it just fell flat, and then I felt rejected in that way.
I love that you bring up the thing about enthusiasm, because, you know, being a safe space or feeling safe with someone, it's not just about that person is being nice to you or they're not being mean to you or they're, you know, like part of being safe for someone is celebrating their wins with them genuinely.
Yeah, like having the space to really feel that
to
with them,
really
to really
feel it.
Whether it's good or bad, you know, but they can go there with you and feel it with you. Which, yeah, that requires a lot of space.
It does. It requires a lot of space, and that's one of the areas that I have woundedness actually in terms of my relationships. Is I've definitely had really, really close friends who are otherwise really safe for me, but can't celebrate.
Yes,
genuinely.
You mentioned this before. You're like,
can't
I just did
genuinely be happy with me, and it really shuts me down. And it makes me feel like, wow, I can't bring my celebrations to you, even though I love you and I want you to know.
Yeah,
but like this isn't safe for that. So yeah, that's a major aspect of being a safe space.
Yes, there's like levels of like, okay, people are cordial with you and they're nice and they acknowledge you. Like I feel like that there's that certain kind of like just cordial level, and then the deeper levels where they actually have the space to feel with you regardless of what it is,
and they aren't threatened by your joy.
Yeah,
like I think that's the hard piece, is like when someone's in a place where they're not having an experience of joy that's generated from their own life, then other people's joy feels like a threat. And even if they don't want to show it, it just comes off, you know?
You're like, why don't I feel good right now about something that, whether you're sharing something with them, especially when it's something vulnerable. I mean, even when you share your art, like for an example, your art, that's vulnerable.
Yes. That's one of the,
it's deep and then also awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's like a deep work, but then you feel enthused by it because you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just like created this experience with myself where it was so fulfilling, you know? Yes, it's okay. We get trolls sometimes.
Yes.
Hello. But hi to anyone that's watching. We are on Halves. We are on Facebook. And then we are on Instagram.
All right.
All right. We're blocking you. Oh, you just mute. Present on screen? No. Yes, very good point, right? Hi, Esther. Thank you for joining us. Hello, hello. Yeah, we got some good vibes up in here, you know? Okay. We muted that person, right? Yeah, has been muted. Yep. Okay. Great. But yeah, and another thing that's coming up for me too is something about I value growth. That just came up for me.
Yes.
Because it's connected to the safe space.
Yes.
Right? Because if they have space to feel with you, then that means they're on the path of inner growth. Like that deep inner growth, because then they're dedicated to like continue to grow that space by doing the healing work themselves. So they're not projecting that onto people, even if it's subtle. And we feel it. As humans, we feel that. We may not know what it is, but as you're on your healing journey, you'll be able to recognize it. You're like, okay, you know?
Yeah, that makes me think of like valuing empowerment, or I guess there's something about like valuing freeing yourself from victimhood.
Yeah.
Because when you're trapped in victimhood, you really can't hold safe space for other people. You just
can't. Yeah, there's too much pain there.
There's too much pain there.
Yeah, which shows in your victimhood because you're living with these beliefs where you have been pained and wronged from, and they haven't been processed.
Yeah.
So,
or overcome. Like it's like they might have been processed, but you still haven't transcended them yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And yeah, I think that I definitely have a value of like really believing that you can have the life that you want. You can like live in an empowered way. So then when, you know, like when you're popping up doing empowering stuff and making powerful moves, like I'm like, yes, because the feeling is like we're rising together.
Yes.
And if you're trapped in victimhood, you feel like you can't rise.
Yeah. So you're going to be more likely to reject that.
Yeah.
You know, which I have like, you know, the reason why I like connecting with people, because I like to like catch things and like read people in a healthy way, you know, like read people, see where they're at. So I know where I can go with them or not, because that's going to save me time and energy. You know, why am I going to spill out my heart and everything if they're not going to be able to hold it or meet me? And it's like, okay, this is not really fulfilling, you know, instead I can just be aware, move a certain way. So then like both sides of the party is like cool. You know, connecting with people is great practice to catch your awareness and like see who's really safe with you, who can really hold space for you to be yourself, to share anything from the good, the bad. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's coming up for me. Yeah, with the value of safe spaces, then I really value an individual saying yes to the healing journey, saying yes to the self-love work, and really being courageous, man. I feel like this thread is coming up, right? And then which leads to like the connection that you're talking about, you know? Because just for someone to have that kind of space to really connect with you in that way, and I feel like when people show consistently, it's them saying, hey, I see you, I recognize you, and I'm showing you that I value this so much that it's worth like growing, and that speaks so loudly. So please pay attention to people's actions. Oh my goodness.
One of the things that I was thinking about this morning, and that is relating to this conversation, is yesterday in Meditate and Conversate, we did a meditation where
you had us put things on the shelf.
I had us put things on the shelf. Good. Yeah, I had us put things on the shelf. And one of our people put his self on the shelf. He was like, I just need to put myself on the shelf. And that is something that you grow into the ability to do when you are saying yes to the healing journey.
Yeah.
When you do have self-love practices, you know, you can put yourself on the shelf and you can hold space for another person's experience.
Yeah.
But if you're not healing, you're so self-consumed because your pain is so distracting that you can't, you know, you can't be a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. Because guess what? You're just thinking about yourself the whole entire time.
Yeah.
You know, and like the pain belief, like for an example, for myself, and then something that I've heard from other people too, but one thing that I can tune into right now too is like immediately comparing myself to other people, being worried about not looking good enough or not being enough in a group of like people or like when amongst the peers and stuff like that. Like that's already running in the background. So when I meet people, that's all I'm thinking about. Oh my God, am I enough? Am I being enough? Like, does this person like me? Versus being able to like heal that, process all that pain, and being able to focus on other people and connecting with them, being interested in them. Yeah, and learning about them.
Yes, learning about them.
Yeah, Brandon, thanks for the shout out. Brandon, we appreciate you just being here all the time. Esther, I believe we've seen you before, so welcome back, welcome in. Yes, and we become that for others. Yes, thanks for the shout out. Yes, it's a famous saying, what we can do for us, we can do for others. Or what is it? When we can love ourselves, we can love others. Like, we would like to challenge everybody to actually like be in the practice of that and really like feel the benefits and experience the benefits of this, because you're going to be stronger as far as like putting down your boundaries and protecting your heart, and also being able to filter out people and really see who has that true space for you.
Yeah,
which is so fulfilling. So fulfilling.
Yeah, and so it might be an interesting exercise for those who are watching to like go to the places where you've been hurt the most, kind of your reoccurring wounds, and then ask yourself, or even ask the wound, like, what is the value that's being violated here? And then that will reveal to you what your values are, and then you can reinforce those values and choose to stand in those values regardless of what anyone else is doing.
Oh, girl, the way that you just said that just made me think of, I'll share another memory where I wish I could have put my foot down more in. So I'll just paint a scenario, okay? And keep in mind, you have this value of like, acceptance just came up for me. Like, yeah, safe space means accepting people, you know, like, let's not judge anyone the best ability that we can. But
Totally.
I remember being with a group of girlfriends, right? We're having a great time. And then there was someone that was around in the area. And so they just came by to say hi. And we all come out of this restaurant. And then immediately, one of the friends at this time just completely shuts down, draws back, doesn't even acknowledge this person. We're all friends, but all of a sudden, or like, you know, like just completely, honestly, I felt like straight up this person who I was just spending time with was immediately judging that person, was immediately giving the vibes of like wanting to outcast this person. She didn't say anything, but just from her not saying hi and not acknowledging and just fading in the background and just being awkward, oh, that triggered me so much, because it went against my value of like, this is a safe space.
Yeah.
We do not outcast nobody.
Yeah.
We don't show judgment. We don't, can you at least be friendly? Whatever that's going on. So like, and I've had conversations with this person about it afterwards, but anyways, this transpired to something like kind of like bigger, but like, yeah, like looking back, I wish I kind of like would have kind of went in a little bit more with kind of like communicating this, because it's something that I cannot allow to see in my circle.
Yeah.
And we're not about that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's issues with you that you need to handle, but do not bring that into like this circle, this like energy, this like vibe that we're all about, like good vibes. Like, please don't bring that around, you know?
Totally.
And so that's coming up for me really strongly right now.
Yeah.
You know, that like that irks me so much. And that relates to my pains, right? Because if I'm triggered, that relates to a pain of mine of like being rejected, being outcasted, and then being bullied, you know, like it just all of that. So like, yeah, like with this talk, like safe space is a really strong value of mine.
There is something really powerful when it comes up in like protection of others, when your values come through, you know, in that way, because yes, it's personal. Yes, you are experiencing an empathy moment, and like how beautiful, like let's protect each other. Let's take care of each other. Let's like let our wounds reinforce our love for one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously. Right. And then you become more thoughtful of others because you're like really attending to this pain. You're like really aware. So yeah, amazing. Yes. Man, this was a great talk. So yeah, we invite you to go to your wounds. Hi, Joe, on Instagram. Hi, anyone who's watching the replay. Yeah, we would love to know like what's revealing about your values as you look at your wounds Really curious what's standing out really loud right now. And so it's almost like now you have something to live by.
Yeah, and you have a way to work with your wounds in a way that's really productive and helpful. So it's not just like, here's another wound that I have to feel and like have pain about and feel defeated by. It's like, oh, here's some helpful information. What value is being violated right here? And how can I choose to be in my value instead of, you know, linger in the wound and feel victimized by it?
Totally. So yeah, that's our talk for today. And I really feel called that we're definitely going to go deeper with this in a workshop.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are open to doing that deeper work to really like get really solid and feel like you're anchoring in your values, click on our website, www.selfloveexodus.com. Click on, actually, if you just scroll down, you can sign up to be on like the email. We send out reminders of what the next workshop will be. We do it once a month. And then another reminder of how many spots are left, because we do keep it like a tight, intimate group. And then you can join us for Meditate and Conversate too. It is a donation-based weekly on a Thursday. We host that as well. So
1:30.
Yeah, that's what we're here to support you. And those are the two main services that we do, and hope to meet you soon. Hope to see you soon. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a DM, a message, or you can email us. It's selfloveexodus@gmail.com. Really easy. Okay, we'll see you next week on a Saturday. We'll be here Saturday mornings now.
Yeah, that's our new time slot.
Yeah, our new time slot.
Bye.
Okay, bye. See you later. Oh, I think you press the X. Yeah, and then end. And then just leave it. Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, bye.